by UPS.
We are just underway at the United Center in Chicago with the Big Ten semifinals featuring #1 ranked Illinois against Minnesota. The Illini scoring on its first trip down the floor. Luther Head scoring in the lane. This is the Golden Gophers now with their second possession. And Hagan on the miss and the rebound out to Darren Williams. Jim Nance, Billy Pack here at the Big Ten. And a turnover. It's going back to Minnesota as we take a look at State Farm covering the court here. The starting lineups, no changes to this point. Keep an eye on Vincent Greer, number 15 of Minnesota. He has some kind of game. And of course, that trio in the backcourt for Illinois, Luther Head, Dee Brown, Darren Williams, all making first team All Big Ten this season.
Jim, they only played one time against each other this year. Illinois winning handily by 12. There's Lawson with a good outside jump shot. In that game, Illinois jumped off 47-26 at halftime in total control of the game.
So Lawson with the three, and Jeff Hagan lost his shoe at the other end of the floor. He was going to put it back on at the other end, decided to run down with carrying the shoe. Here it is.
7-footer without his shoe, Jim, is a problem. Look at him trying to get back into the action. Now, is it illegal for him to throw the shoe a block? Huh? How about that?
Do you know the answer to that?
Yeah, sure.
Oh,
no, it's not legal. Okay. What I'm saying.
Of course, they're hoping to play the role of Cinderella here at the Big Ten tournament.
Oh, we got to get into the ball game here.
It's Dee Brown, and that one rattles out, tipped back out to the corner. Aaron Robinson.
There's Greer, the dangerous player for this club, with that odd-looking left-hand shot. Transferred from Charlotte via junior college. Proved to be one of the top players, newcomers in the Big Ten this year.
Williams with the jumper, not this time, and tipped around, controlled by Minnesota.
So far, Hagan and Coleman have gotten the better of anything that's gone up near the glass. Good trap.
Augustine with the pick. The head, Williams, and he had a good idea to go over to Powell. There's the story here. This building just filled with emotion as head coach Bruce Weber of Illinois being greeted by Dan Monson. The signs of support, the moment of silence. His mother passed away not even 19 hours ago here in a Chicago hospital, stricken before the Illinois game yesterday. A ruptured aorta. She left the arena and then underwent an emergency surgery that lasted some 5 hours long. She did not survive it, passing away at 6 o'clock local time. Weber, unaware that his mother had been stricken, coaching throughout the game yesterday against Northwestern, and then notified after the game during his press conference about his mother's situation. He left immediately, received the bad news again last night at 6, deciding to be here to coach today for Illinois.
Luther Head with the rebound. Small forward that he is a very good slashing rebounder. And it is so tough to match up with his team.
Head trying to go behind the back, and Greer kept the position. Made the steal, sets up Robinson, three, off the mark. Powell pulls it down.
For the pace and oil, though, the way they're pushing this ball up the floor, they're the highest scoring team in the Big Ten. A foul, turnover.
That foul called on Augustine, trying to set a pick down the floor. Illinois, Minnesota first up, and then Iowa and Wisconsin. Billy, this Bruce Weber situation today, he arrived about an hour before the game, and you know, his son of a coach, his brother's a coach, said it was his mother's one of the last things she said. Bruce's sister. Make sure that Bruce and Dave, his younger brother Dave, who's a high school coach in the Chicago area, make sure they keep on coaching.
Won last night in the sectional. They will go to the super sectionals and play on Tuesday. This is a woman who was married to a man that coached and had 3 sons that were heavily involved in basketball, so you can understand that statement.
Mother was 81. Let's take a look at our Applebee's neighborhood favorite. Looking back at some previous action in the Big Ten tournament. Semifinal game back in '99 between Illinois and Ohio State. Bill, you'll remember it well. Illinois was the 11th seed, went on to upset Ohio State in this game to make it all the way to the final. Lon Kruger ran out of gas.
Yes, they did. Lon really did a job taking them that way, and we'll have a game coming up. Steve Alford likewise was able to take a team on a run. That's a tough stretch. 4 games in 4 days against the kind of competition that they had to face. Outstanding Michigan State club.
Only to go on to lose to Michigan State that would advance
that was
to the Final Four.
That was close to a backcourt violation by Robinson. I don't know why he jumped over there.
Ill conceived and taken away there by Ingram, who's in now for the first time for Illinois.
Unnecessary pass that time, Jim. It was right in heavy traffic. Ingram didn't have to do much to intercept it.
Illinois has turned it over 4 times his first 7 trips. Ingram with the jumper, and that bounces out. It's Greer. Up ahead, Lawson. Lost control of it again and taken away by Ingram.
Boy, the way that Illinois pushes the ball up the floor, and there was the ball on the catch, and that created the turnover.
Sloppy beginning, and Illinois with only 1 field goal. Minnesota's got the edge at the first break.
Indiana school history. During his career, he helped lead the Hoosiers to a Final Four appearance. Cheney always played well in the NCAA tournament, as he is the 12th tournament games. How many Naismith winners have scored more career points in the NCAA tournament? Now play Naismith trivia for a shot at $1 million. Text the word play to 26222 on your wireless phone. You'll get 20 questions for 20 chances to win a trip to the 2005 NCAA Men's Final Four and a shot at $1 million.
Minnesota to inbound, and the Golden Gophers defeating Indiana yesterday in the 4-5 matchup. Minnesota the 5 seed, Indiana the 4. Most people feel that knocked the Hoosiers out of the NCAA tournament. Is that a certainty?
Pretty close, but I think one thing it did do, it definitely put Minnesota in the NCAA tournament.
No question?
I don't think there's any question about it.
Minnesota with a 21-9 record has won its last 5. That's Powell being rejected by Hagan. Gets it back to feed Ingram.
Boy, terrific job of help defense by Minnesota all over the floor that time. Lawson stepped out on the switch, did a good job. Coleman on a switch with a good job. Nice double teams, and the smallest guy on the floor getting a piece of the action. So far, Illinois is the best team I've seen in a long time, and certainly the best team in the Big Ten in regard to assist-turnover ratio. They've been a little sloppy early in this ballgame.
Number of turnovers early for Illinois, 5 in all. Coleman, well, that one got away, but off the leg of Ingram.
You see that team quickness with the 3-guard deployment that Illinois has is very difficult to use reverse dribbles because somebody's coming.
You saw Dan Monson. Saw him first to greet Bruce Weber when he took the floor before the game, and that's taken away from Hagan. Monson in his 6th year, and
good
pass by Head over to Powell.
One of the things you know, because this team all can catch the ball and make the play, you have got to get back down court.
Illinois had gone almost 4.5 minutes without a basket before that one.
Excellent defensive pressure on the ball by everybody in this Illinois squad.
Underneath, Greer backs it up, and
thing that Greer has, even though Head's a good athlete, Greer just went right over the top of him there, Jim, on that lob. Assigned to Williams. Want a bigger man, try to take away some of that great ability he has to pass.
E. Brown long on the 3, and it's Greer coming back down on the blocks to get the board.
Robinson quick enough to stay with Brown, making those shots tough. And
that's off Illinois. Well, you mentioned Darren Williams, and we see some subs on Dick Smith. Here are the big 3. Luther Head, who had that great assist a moment ago. Darren Williams. D. Brown, the Big Ten Player of the Year and Defensive Player of the Year.
Jim, Williams #1 in assists. You got Luther Head, #5 in 3-point shooting, #5 in foul shooting, #5 in scoring, #4 in steals. It just adds up between these 3 guys. They have been dominant.
What a move inside by Jeff Hagan. And it's 9-4 Minnesota.
Well, very much different than the first game these 2 teams played, where Illinois was in control the whole time with a 21-point lead at halftime. Not get
the round out to Lawson. Over to Greer. Pull-up jumper and 2 more.
You know, if you're Bruce Weber, you might need to call timeout just to get your guys to refocus here. They have come down the gate and played very lackadaisical with the ball early on.
Brown trying to shake off Robinson and draws the foul. He'll head to the line for a pair. Hey, Jeff Hagan, the 7-foot senior. He's got some pretty nifty footwork.
Big man who's had a lot of time to mature. Basically was not a heavily recruited player coming into school. Been around for a long time. That's one of the things about this Minnesota team, Jimmy. You just can imagine what it's been like for these fellas that have been in this program with all the downtime. The NCAA probation, all the violations, all the negatives. Not a lot to scream about, and now all of a sudden they've got that opportunity for success, and they do have a tremendous amount of experience on this team.
Rico Tucker coming in for Lawson. They brought in also Jason Stamper, number 21, into the Minnesota lineup.
Very small guards on the floor at the same time. And let's see who gets the matchup. Head comes back in, Brown goes out. So there's going to be one tough matchup here for Tucker or for Robinson. Looking to go inside. Greer taking it right over the top.
He can get pretty streaky. He's had some big games outside the arc this season, but that one on misfire.
First time they played, he was 1 for 6 from 3, so probably didn't get the kind of looks he normally has.
McBride into the Illinois lineup. Augustine, baseline jumper. Dick Smith pulling it down, putting it back up. And Hagan has the space.
Had more time to finish properly.
Greer right inside the three-point line. Too strong. And over the top, Illinois ball.
Neither team really getting into their half-court offense.
Tournament history, this is only the, well, you look at Illinois. Last year, lost in the finals to Wisconsin. And what's amazing, the only time that the regular season champion, this is now the 8th year of the Big Ten tournament, only once has the #1 seed won it. And that was Michigan State back in 1999.
And the only time Minnesota's ever been into the finals was the very first year of this tournament, 98, when they got in the finals against Michigan. Lost in that ball game 69-85. You remember the trailer. It was a little bit too much for everybody that weekend. Quincy Lewis did, however, and he is the only guy from the all-tournament team.
Spencer Tollickson, number 50, is in for Minnesota, replacing Hagan.
Nice defensive move. Tough break.
Smith lays it in.
Greer with those long arms. Was very seldom do you see Williams have that ball stolen from him from behind. It turned out to be basically an assist.
Stamper thought about it now on the line. Rico Tucker trying to save it. There'll be Illinois ball out of the break. Illinois shooting only 25% from the field here at the start.
Sports coverage of the Big Ten Conference Tournament is sponsored by Chevy and American Revolution, supercharged for 2005. The Hartford Mutual Funds, official corporate partner of the NCAA. And by UPS. What can Brown do for you?
Illinois to inbound, trailing 11-8. Of course, just 6 days ago, Illinois suffering its own Lester winner at Ohio State for the Buckeyes. Sloppy play here at the beginning, but right back into the hands of Williams.
Oh, another steal.
Yep. Tucker up ahead. 2 coming in on him, but he finishes it off with a bucket.
Minnesota already today has broken the all-time season steal record. And picking it off. This is a team that came into this game with 276 steals on the year.
Darren Williams beat it back to the other end of the floor, plus was able to draw the...
Jim, that never should have happened. See, there are 5 players. There are 5 players from Minnesota down there when you've got one guy with a wide open layup. 3 maybe. 2 should have been back on defense. Bad floor balance for Minnesota.
Tollickson committed the foul, and Williams gets the three-point play. 15-11 lead here for the Golden Gophers.
When Augustine comes out of the night, Tucker, there's just no place to throw the ball over the top.
Robinson back in along with Hagan. And D. Brown for Illinois returns. Greer will get a little rest. Brown did not have the big offensive game yesterday against Northwestern. But late in the season, he was at his best the last 10 games.
It is 5 points and 6 assists yesterday. That was a dangerous pass again. Out front like that. Brown looking to pick it off.
Tucker, three-point shot. Long board, comes back to Lawson.
Off the ball being smaller is right there in the way. Lawson says, I want to keep that ball in my hands.
Well, to tie up the arrow, Illinois. Monson again, 6th year and on the brink of taking his team to the NCAAs for the first time.
Yep, of course
he has an NCAA history. Yeah.
Yes, he does with Gonzaga. Really started everything out there at Gonzaga in regard to their tremendous play in NCAA tournament. You can remember that Connecticut ball game.
It was a regional final, made it to the final 8 in the West in '99.
Little zone trapping defense right now. Everybody getting heavy out on the ball. 2-3 zone.
Powell back on the floor for the Illini. Working it around. Very snappy possession and back out Augustine. Traveled first.
Oh boy. Everybody thought that was a foul. I'll tell you, Minnesota played about an aggressive zone defense as far as getting out on the passer as I've seen. And of course, you've got to do that against Illinois because they can surround the zone with the 3 great shooters. That should have been a foul rather than a walk-in violation.
Everyone was waiting for the call against Stanford, but instead, Minnesota has it with the lead here midway through the first.
Hagan open inside, being played by Powell. They just need to throw it over the top. He's got so much size.
Greer slashing. Almost got the soft roll, but Augustine able to get it on the tap.
Boy, head backing up, going down court on the break. Almost as much speed going backwards. Most people have going for
Luther. Three-pointer. Yes. And the lead.
It's relentless the way they attack you with the ball. And they do have a home crowd advantage, Jim, in this tournament. No doubt about it.
Taken away, Williams.
On the 3rd turnover by Coleman today. Extra pass.
Over the head, yes. That's the chest.
Well, what was so great about that is the extra pass that made it all possible.
All 3 of the stars touched at that time for the 3 by Lutherhead. Good weekend, and tomorrow it'll all be confirmed what we've suspected for a long time. This Illinois road to the Final Four could be a very short road. First to Indianapolis, then back here to Chicago, and then on to the Final Four. That's all they would have to travel.
Absolutely. You put a circle on, you get a penny on that. Bloomington to Indianapolis to Chicago.
Champagne right in the middle of them all.
Absolutely.
Minnesota substitution number 21, Jason Stanford.
Stanford right back in for Coleman.
Coleman's had a hard time ball handling wise, Jim. Coach Munson going to give him a little bit of talking to. Now, I think with Powell, they've got Augustine, and I don't know why they have this, but they have Powell on Hagan. They have got to take advantage of that with some action to Hagan. Now, I know Augustine's going to come over to help out, but let the big man operate.
5 on the shot clock. Robinson.
He's going to have to take a bad shot.
Trying to shake off. D. Brown going to drive and never touch the rim. No. Violation. We've got an update. Let's send you back to Greg in the studio.
Jim and Billy, the MEAC championship game between Hampton and Delaware State came down to this. Bruce Davis out of the corner, not good, but watch Aaron Williams with the follow in the lane. Less than 2 seconds on the clock. It held up. Delaware State to their first ever tournament appearance, 55-53, guys.
Greg, so Delaware State will be dancing in the NCAAs.
Now watch Powell and Hagan on the inside. Minnesota's got to get the ball to the big man. You knew Augustine was going to come on the trap, so Hagan has to be ready for that.
Minnesota unsettled on the offensive end of the floor. Illinois on a 13-2 run.
I think that can be their whole offense right now, is get the ball to Hagan. If Augustine's going to come and trap, make a quick pass to the cutter.
Rebound, put back, Powell into the line. Kemper called for this one near the end of this game. We'll select the Chevrolet player of the game from each team to honor their determination and outstanding play. Chevrolet will make a contribution of $1,000 to each university's general scholarship fund, Chevy an American Revolution. So Roger Powell Jr. to the line.
Jim, this young man has one thing going for him. Of all these Illinois players who have been so highly decorated, he's the only one that has made all Big Ten tournaments.
Made that back 2 years ago. Last time the tournament was in Chicago here at the United Center. They alternate years in the Big Ten. Indianapolis 1 year, then back to Chicago, back to Indianapolis. And that was 2003 for 8 minutes to go in the half, and Illinois now on a 15-2 spurt. Minnesota missed its last 7 shots. Greer lost the handle. Back out Stamper. And the rebound picked up by Carter of Illinois, who's just come in, and Warren Carter.
Given a little bit more size, realizing that Powell was having his hands full with Hagan.
And with his third three. He's got 11 to lead the way. He's got half the Illini total.
Well, he was 5 for 14 yesterday with 14 points. Such an explosive outside shooter.
Robinson. Due. That's a three. He was due. The whole team was due.
Well, Minnesota has gone from man-to-man. They dropped back into a zone that was very aggressive. Now they're back.
Powell on the baseline. Minnesota ball.
There's a timeout.
Illinois up 6. We are back. Illinois with the edge on the rebounding and the lead 22-16, Billy.
Well, Jim, we talked about 3 all-conference players. Watch this passing. Boom. You're going to players at their best. Williams, Brown, Williams, head, basket. That's Illinois basketball right there. #1 team in the country, and that's why. Right now, Minnesota has got to figure out some way to get points on the board. I thought that they had an opportunity. Hagan with Powell guarding. Vincent over the top.
Greer underneath. What a play by Jeff Hagan.
I tell you, Vincent Greer has the ability, because of his leaping, no matter who he gets matched up with, even if it's head, to go over the top. They've got to start taking advantage of it. For head.
They have gotten away with a little sliding of the feet. Carter, well, he's called for it this time. Let's take a look at our All-State Alumni update. Yanni is a Minnesota graduate. And then Roger Ebert from Illinois. Were you aware of either case?
Both.
You were?
Yes.
Okay.
Now, I don't know what kind of basketball fan Yanni is, but I know Roger Ebert keeps up with it.
Yanni was a swimmer. Now here's Hagan with the left hand.
Good move. Go inside to Hagan. If they're not going to double down on him with Augustine, he can make a quick play.
Cut it back down to 2.
I think Minnesota just needs to figure out how to operate in the half-court offense here to stay in this game. They're doing a good job defensively. That was a good idea by Williams. Augustine should have been there. I can't believe that he's complaining a little bit, because Williams was a pass ahead. Augustine should have been cutting to that basket.
So the Golden Gophers on a 7-0 run. Down 9 just a few moments ago, and that trip, they could have tied it, but Ingram makes the steal.
No angle for that pass by Robinson whatsoever.
What about launching it? Williams, cross court, head, he's the hot hand. Ingram gauges it right, and puts it back up and in.
Nice follow. Everybody will remember that Wisconsin game when Ingram came in and hit those 2 big 3-point shots. He's been so valuable to this team off the bench with that offensive lift.
Illinois put up 89 on the Gophers in that game. 89-66 win. The most points scored by a minute. Hagan, no call, and Williams with the rebound.
Hagan's got to realize he can't delay in that low post because Augustine's going to be coming.
That call going against Minnesota, going against Aaron Robinson. Illinois with a 14-week residence at #1, including staying at #1 after the loss to Ohio State. But you look, though,
you can see, Jim, what that means.
Recent form, it's not so good.
That's right.
Come tournament time.
Duke lost, of course, to Indiana after that nice run they had.
Back in is Rico Tucker for Robinson.
You know, one of the things that makes Williams so tough is not only does he have great vision on the court, but he's got that power in the upper body so that when he makes those moves to the inside, you've got to really be squared up with him or he'll power on by. He's led the league 3 years in a row in assists.
He went over 1,000 points on his career yesterday in the game against Northwestern.
1,000 points for Kansas, always looking pass first is kind of amazing. He was not known as a shooter at all, if anything, a weak shooter when he entered into college basketball.
That's on Ingram. The hole.
That's his first, the team's second.
Just the second team foul on Illinois, and Minnesota has not attempted a free throw. 16 minutes into this game.
And they're a 70% free throw shooting team, so they want to get to the line. Oh, how about that? Tucker tried to call timeout. The official didn't see him.
The other way, so he got it in quickly. Hollingston too strong, and D. Brown comes crashing in.
Got that rebound over Hagan.
Long Augustine let him too much.
Brown is on Hagan. He's down.
Well, Augustine stepped in to make that steal. And Brown, too strong. Tipped up. McBride. Augustine the boards. Illinois back up in front by 8.
What Brown did, Jim, that last time, I realized Augustine gets the steal, but Brown realized he was pegged down in on Hagan, so he just kept moving around behind him. It caused the passer some problems.
Already
Tucker having all kinds of problems.
Greer as well.
Yep, that's going to be Greer, who kicked the ball while laying on the floor. And even though Illinois got it, it was a turnover by Greer.
Play Naismith Trivia. Text play to 26222 on your wireless phone. You'll get 20 questions for 20 chances to win a trip to the 2005 Men's Final Four and a shot at $1 million. Billy, let's take a look at the RPI, and Kansas is still #1 in the RPI index.
They have been all year long up in that position right there. North Carolina that struggled with Clemson yesterday, still moving on. Duke's still alive. Wake Forest out of there, losing to NC State, a hot team right now. Jim making a nice run here at the end to get a tournament berth. And Wake Forest may have hurt themselves situation.
I still think we're in a desperate search to find 2 more meritorious #1 seeds, with Illinois and North Carolina being locks. It's kind of a strange tenor to this year's selection and how the brackets will work out, because usually you're looking at 5 teams that are worthy of a 1. Of course, only 4 get that final seeding. Tough pass, Tomlinson, and that's going to be Illinois ball. But this year you only have 2, and then a lot of teams will look like...
Absolutely, and I think that the postseason conference tournament may have something to do with it.
Singular at the half, Greg Clark, Seth. Scores and highlights, tournament news, and all the latest from their end as far as the way the tournament is shaping up. But I would think Wake is still, because others have also had failings in the late going, still has to be on that 1 line.
And they did play without Chris Paul yesterday, who was suspended for that altercation with Julius Hodge in the last regular season game.
Paul took steps. Well, as a 1 seed, who is the final one? Is it Kentucky? Is it Kansas, #1 in the RPI? Is it Arizona, perhaps?
Kentucky with an opportunity to still win the SEC tournament championship to go with their regular season crown. And Kansas, a team that did struggle at the end of the year, but still in the hunt for the Big 12 tournament.
Greer's going to the line, and Minnesota will finally shoot free throws. Speaking of the art, how it works out on the computer as far as conference RPIs, look, the Pac-10 is second.
I've been confused all year about that one. And Big 12 in there still strong. Big 10, as you can see, it's down there in what, 5th or 6th place this year, and that could haunt them a little bit as far as going very deep. I think Indiana is the one team right now that's in that bubble room, if they're in.
What about Iowa? We'll see in the other game.
I think Iowa's got themselves in pretty good shape right now, and I think this Minnesota team earned their way in with that win yesterday.
One more for Greer. And bangs that one in. 28-21 Illinois with just a little more than 2 minutes to go in the half. Powell kicks it back out. And Illinois, everybody in a reset. Smith from the wing. Corner. Big 7-footer, tipped around.
Smith does have good range from out. Greer needs to put this up. He's got a small man on him. Should have shot it earlier.
And Powell comes out, muscles his way to that one. Look at Williams. Greer off and running.
Oh, there was a case. Head from behind.
He was holding on to Lawson.
He had Lawson from behind. No call. There is no question about it. Ball gets away. Now, right there is where Head, I can't believe it. Greer probably should have kept his dribble alive anyway. That should have been an intentional foul, grabbing the jersey.
Timeout called by Illinois, leading by 7. Coming next, the conference tournament weekend delivered by UPS continues with the second semifinal game. It's Iowa and Wisconsin. And the Hawkeyes last night upsetting Michigan State. Billy says to get into the tournament. I think the Hawkeyes would like to take one more comfortable with that thought.
Jim, there have been, in this game, 26 turnovers. That's really out of character for Illinois. #1 in the league with assists, and they have 251 more assists than turnovers. On the other side, and the turnovers are equal in this game, Minnesota is a team that had 49 more turnovers than assists. So if that's an area that Illinois ought to be dominating this game, and they're not.
3-second violation on Minnesota. Augustine hit the jumper at the other end. The largest lead of the game for Illinois, 9, and they're looking to add to it as we approach the minute mark.
Yeah, they've got a 9-point lead, but have 13 turnovers in the first half. Way out of character for them. So they're in control for a reason that you wouldn't expect.
D. Brown, 3-pointer too strong. Robinson flies for the board.
Good defensive transition by Illinois that time.
Greer again able to take advantage. Arrow goes to Minnesota.
I tell you, Vincent Greer, Jim, has got the ability to go over the top of everybody that's been assigned to guard him today, but he's making shots that are much harder. He's making attempts that are much harder than are necessary.
Seems to realize that D. Brown's on him, and he gets a little ahead of himself.
Yeah, he doesn't realize, I think, how open he is.
It's gone 5.5 minutes without a basket. And that ends that stretch as Lawson of the half. And that's a big one. Cuts it to 6. Inside of 30 seconds to go. Change the complexion of this one. It was 9 with Illinois possession. Back at the other end, they hit the 3, and now we've got a 6-point ball game. Williams working it down to 10. Now we'll move in.
And they go back out of their man-to-man in the zone for the last 6 seconds here.
How about
nice move.
Another turnover. His head with a little miss.
Jim, that was a nice move by Coach Munson. He got out of the man-to-man, went back into his zone, changed during the possession.
Illinois substitution number 50, Jack
And with 5.8 seconds to go, you have plenty of time, even for a dribble drive situation by Robinson, to take the length of the floor. He's got McBride on him. This is a good situation. Get the ball to Robinson and let him take off with it.
Let's go up ahead to Lawson with 4 seconds. And a reach in on a 9, but the team foul situation. That's only the 4th.
Which they have 2 more to give here. So it'll be very difficult, or should be very difficult, for Minnesota to get off a shot. Now, if the Minnesota players recognize this, as soon as you catch it, you ought to fire it. Fire it. Fire it.
Greer got it away, and no call. Lutherhead leads with, and Illinois in front 30-24 at halftime. We'll go back to the studio and we continue in a moment.
Of the Big Ten Conference Tournament is sponsored by Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Call 1-800-RENT-A-CAR. Pick Enterprise. We'll pick you up. Nivea for men. More evolved skincare. And by Miller. There's good enough and there's better than it has to be. Miller. Good call.
Illinois leads as we're about to begin the second half, but they have a lot of heavy hearts for Coach Bruce Weber, whose mother passed away last night, hearing about him being here today.
We have a family of coaches. My dad coached, my brother's coach, and we made sure my brother coached last night. His team won the regional here and goes on the super sectional. And, you know, one thing, my mom, when she went into surgery, she told my sister, make sure Bruce and David don't know, because they have big games. So she wanted us to coach. And so that's why we did that.
There he is. Spoke to his team about 8:40 Chicago time, put them together in the ballroom of the hotel. He expressed just what you heard to his team. And here they are in the semifinals, starting the second half against Minnesota with the 6-point lead.
Jim, they have a nice lead. They are in control of this ball game, but very unusual. They have 5 assists today and 14 turnovers in the first half. This team that's #1 in the country playing like that. The other thing that's kind of interesting, fast break points. Minnesota has 6, Illinois only 8. So with the comfortable margin that they have, they are not playing the way that you would expect them to play.
You can add one more turnover to each side. You see the halftime numbers. Each team walks right down the floor and turns it over. It's just
30 turnovers for the ball game.
We're 30 seconds into the second half. Lutherhead was the star of that first half with 11.
He got 11 being guarded by Lawson, who's the #2 steal man in the conference.
Brown. And a nice save by Augustine. It comes all the way back out to Darren Williams.
It really was, keeping that ball alive for his team. How about that pass?
Whips it to the corner, right back around they go to Brown. 3.
Boy, Augustine on 2 sensational places. The cross-court pass underneath the rim, and then the great rotation that you expect from these guards that are so outstanding.
Hey, when they do get it going, that snappy passing is as good as you'll see anywhere.
Well, absolutely. And you know what's interesting, Jim? It's not fancy passing. A lot of two-handed passes. Oh, Brown so quick to catch up to the ball. That was a kick. That was a kick by Augustine. He controlled the ball with his shoe.
Well, they call the timeout first. Timeout, so it'll be Illinois ball out of this break.
He's laughing still because he controlled this ball with his foot. Look at this. That should have been a violation.
Is delivered by UPS.
Big Ten Conference, second half in Illinois with the lead and possession.
Very dangerous time right now for Minnesota, Jim. Illinois is an explosive team. You can't let them get away from you. Good block.
Hagan with his 3rd block of the game. Across the court, a whistle. Just going to adjust the clock here for a second. Take a look at the shot chart of Vincent Greer.
Well, Jim, he got plenty of shots in the first half. Had 10 shots, made 3 of them. The key was, however, I thought he made the shots much more difficult than was necessary. He's being played by a smaller man. He's got great leaping ability.
Darren Williams almost makes the theft. Got a sink at this end of the floor.
Here we have again the situation where Powell is on Hagen. Got Coleman outside being guarded by Augustine, and Augustine is doing this because he can double down anytime Hagen touches the ball. Now watch. Oh, the pass can't get in there.
And Robinson on the line. Gives it right back to Illinois.
Great job by head pressure on the ball. Couldn't even get it down to Hagen, but Augustine was ready to go attack on the double down.
Golden Gophers, 3 turnovers. And the lob, Williams. Luther had to Darren Williams in the largest lead of the afternoon.
That was Greer's fault all the way. Had his... Serious trouble right now for Minnesota.
Greer doubled up, got it out. And Lawson crashing the boards. It's Coleman. Hagen hit. And the whistle on Illinois. Everything you need to fill out your brackets is on CBS Sportsline. From bracket games you can play to printable brackets and the latest news. It's all at CBSSportsline.com. So that foul called on Powell, his first. Stamper in for Minnesota, number 21. Looking for the first points of the half. Hagen.
Pretty nice hands.
And he is fouled on the way up. You know, the only loss for Illinois came to unranked Ohio State, so they are 6-0 against ranked teams.
And look at teams that get knocked out. Wake Forest, as we talked about. Pittsburgh got knocked out. Connecticut got knocked out. Washington playing Arizona. Louisville today. And Duke and Illinois still alive. I'm talking about in postseason conference tournaments. Can you imagine going to the line? You're a freshman, outstanding player. Stairs Washington have a chance to make 3 straight free throws. You go to the NCAA tournament, make 2, you go to overtime.
Wow.
Make 1, and you go home.
That was just wrenching to watch.
Unbelievable. And he has been outstanding throughout this season. You can make a case for him being the best freshman in the country.
One more for Hagen. The foul was on Powell. His both coming on this one trip down the floor. So the first points of the half for Minnesota. It's a 9-point game. Illinois.
There's a little half court, or really 3/4 court zone trap. Tough to trap this team with their ability to just pass that ball.
Back to the side. Augustine too strong. Powell
In traffic.
Wow, what a move. Roger Powell, Jr.
Traffic caught that ball. Terrific rebound.
Can they get out of that field goal drought? Stamper misfired. Augustine clear.
Now that was a tough break for Augustine. Hagen was right behind him, and he didn't realize he was there. Hagen's kind of laughing, talking to the official, saying, well, I got a little piece of that arm, not the ball. You think it takes Brown 1 step or 1.5 steps? It's amazing, isn't it?
That's 0 to 60. It's fast. Good as it gets. That's Greer.
There's Greer making the play much easier.
Yep, simplified at that time.
He's been hesitant when he's open.
Minnesota hanging around, down 7. Darren Williams.
Look at those blockouts by Powell. 2 and
Deal coming in from behind is Robinson.
Yeah, it's so tough for a big man when a little guy gets down so close to the floor to pick one off on the bounce pass.
That's a 3. Robinson. Well, look at that. It's a 6-point game again, just like we had at halftime.
That was a dangerous point. Robinson's big 3-point effort this year against Purdue, 5 of 8 threes for 14 points. So he is capable.
And out to Greer.
Numbers lost and open in the corner.
Wow, shot drops for Greer. How about that?
He created that one once he got in the air.
There's Steve Brown. Yes. three.
And he has unlimited range. And so many times down the stretch here in late February, Brown would come up with those threes to break the back of the opponent.
Lawson and the block foul on Illinois. Called on Powell. We'll come out of the break with Minnesota at the line. They're still hanging around. That's 7 to number 1. All right, let's take a look at our Pontiac game changer.
Well, you're going to see Lutherhead here occupy not only his man, but watch the looks from the entire defensive squad. Everybody says, hey, I've got Ed, I've got him, 5 men on him. All of a sudden, he releases the ball, and then he goes out to the corner, and everybody forgets about him. Thank you very much. I'll take a jump shot. He's so quick, moves so well without the ball. And, Jim, we go back to what has kept Minnesota in this game is Illinois turning the ball over. And in that first half, not only did they have 14 turnovers, but all 5 starters had at least 2 turnovers. So they spread it around. It wasn't like one time and had a bad half. Everybody was making mistakes with the ball.
All right, one more free throw for the Gophers captain, Brent Lawson, senior from Maple Grove, Minnesota.
Transferred from St. Francis of Pennsylvania, where he played as a freshman. Got a lot of experience. Here we go back to that 3-quarter court. Trap defense and zone defense, and then they get back into their man-to-man.
Aaron Williams with a spin move and the reach-in call on Robinson.
Got there a little too late, but had the right idea.
Minnesota foul number 3, Aaron Robinson.
Alabama in a good one this afternoon. Down to the last 2 minutes, trailing Florida.
Alabama, Florida, Kentucky. Now that Mississippi State's out of there, 3 teams you'd expect to go pretty deep in the NCAA tournament.
And you think if Kentucky wins that SEC tournament, are they, the other number 1?
They're not number one. They're going to be the first or second on that second line.
Working it around, under 14 minutes to play and leading by 5. Augustine back out to Brown with that long range, front of the rim this time. Boy, Augustine makes the play.
Yes, in the right place all day. There he is again, tapping it back out.
To McBride, who gives it up Ingram for 2.
Boy, Augustine again, keeping the ball alive for his teammates. Ingram gets the basket, but Augustine's the guy that made that all work. His team is totally unselfish. Augustine with 8 rebounds in this ball game so far, but how about that passing? Whether you are, and those are 2 substitutes there.
It's McBride, 1 sub to another Ingram.
Augustine was the number 7 rebounder in the league, number 6 with blocks in the league, and number 1 in field goal shooting percentage. Just a solid year. And also from a defensive standpoint, he has the primary responsibility to stop the other people's best big man. There's the 9th rebound.
Greer brought it right up the floor, took the shot.
A little pick and roll action. Augustine didn't go down the lane.
The screen for Williams. Taken away, Greer. Man, he tried to set that up. Wide. But back to him. And Greer has it stripped away. My goodness. Block. Foul.
Why did Greer not just go ahead? And I've talked about this earlier in the game. He's tried to make plays harder than they need to be. Just go down there. If you're going to dunk it, just dunk it. He tried to do a sensational dunk by putting the ball out wide, and it cost him.
Could have been a 6-point game at the other end.
And now it turns around the other way, putting Illinois on the line.
Sometimes it shouldn't.
That's right.
Illinois substitution number 41, Lauren Hunter.
You know, the game of basketball, you get 2 points, Jim. regardless of how it goes in the basket. You know, if it's a two-point shot. And whether you go ahead and flush it with some degree of difficulty doesn't help you at all. And particularly in a game where you're trying to help your team win. This is not some kind of a show contest.
And Tucker off on the rebound.
And Brown off and running.
Boy, is he fast. Greer with the block. Back to Brown. Augustine with the follow, and one more.
Boy, Augustine has been the man of this game. Making very few mistakes all around the ball, making things easy for his team. Get Brown, get that back.
But the thing about Augustine, he gets a little bit lost with all the attention to D. Brown. But Augustine twice this season was the Big Ten Conference Player of the Week. In fact, they had 4 different players who made it as the Big Ten Player of the Week. Only Darren Williams never made Big Ten Player of the Week. You never would have guessed that, would you?
Yeah, preseason Player of the Year doesn't make any of the weekly selections.
And here he is coming out of the pack with the 11-point lead. They're looking for more. Luther Head fires the 3, and it's a 14-point lead.
Jim, you make the dunk, you've got yourself in a good situation, you miss it, and it turns this game around.
Well, like I said, you do it to make the highlights. You made it, but the wrong way. Packer at the Big Ten semifinals, with Illinois threatening to break this thing open. And you look at the strength of schedule this season, Kansas with the toughest schedule, and a big reason why the Jayhawks have the #1 RPI.
Well, 3 of those teams from the Big 12.
And Missouri.
And
you know,
the team that's not up there is Oklahoma, and they're the team that has very quietly moved to the top of that league. Is that amazing? Kelvin Sampson's club.
Robinson banks home a 3. You don't hear much about Oklahoma. You hear about Oklahoma State. You do hear about Kansas. But the Sooners, yes, they're going to be quite a danger in the tournament. Luther Head trying to answer back at the other end. Robinson has a couple players break early. And a shot, and Darren Williams is down.
Boy, that was some layup there in traffic. Williams went down hard, and Greer still made the shot.
Well, Vincent Greer, he gets a chance for the 3-point play. Timeout on the floor.
Pontiac, official performance machines of the NCAA. Sprint. With Sprint, business is beautiful. By Gatorade Thirst Quencher. Gatorade. Is it in you?
Well, later on CBS, the second game here at the Big Ten, plus the Pac-10 tournament final. Washington and Arizona as our conference tournament weekend delivered by UPS continues. Washington and Arizona, the Pac-10 championship game tonight. Now Greer at the line.
Jim, that foul, that last foul by Williams could have also been called intentional because of the degree of the way that he... You not only, can push a guy in a non-basketball way defensively, but the volatile way that Williams went after Greer could have been called an intentional foul.
Foul there on Warren Carter. And I tell you, Dan Monson during that break was working that point over pretty hard.
He really was.
Greer up high from the rim. Tipped out, but right into the hands of Luther Head.
How about Head turns it and gives it right back to Williams and says, hey, I'm going to run without the ball. He moves so well without him, so find him if he's open.
Nick Smith back into the game.
Head figures he can shoot right over the top.
Carter looking for some help. They're down to 6 on the shot clock. Williams takes note.
Nice job by Robinson.
Just in time. And Powell working in underneath. Foul against Minnesota.
But how about the way that Williams saw how much clock was left there to get that shot up? Here's that constant movement, good passing, always looking ahead for the guy that's got a little better shot. Why, Illinois has done such a great job this year with that assist-turnover ratio.
The foul on Brent Lawson, his second. It sends Powell to the line for a pair.
You know, in the league this year, you've got for Illinois, everybody knows about but then you come right behind it. They also are in the 3 and 5 position with Brown and Luther Head. So you've got guys that will give up that ball. Brown today does not have an assist, which is really surprising.
And unusual. 1 of 2 for Powell.
And point out yesterday in Illinois' win, Brown had 6 assists, but only 5 points.
Hagan, and he had 2 bodies hanging with, and the ball came free.
Hagan's being played by Powell and has been most of the game, hasn't taken advantage of the size.
Luther Head, that one got away. If Greer lets it go, it's a violation.
Well, you know, I think when Head turned around and threw that ball, he thought Augustine was out there, who would have been able to catch that ball.
19 turnovers now against the Late Show. Don't miss Ashton Kutcher. And later this week, Dave's got Amanda Pete and Jimmy Fallon. But Monday, all new, all this week, Dave, the Late Show.
Jim, 19 turnovers at the 10-minute mark. They had 21 assists the first time they played Minnesota. So this is really out of character for Illinois to be turning it over with such sloppy ball handling.
Now there's a great move by Greer.
You see, if he makes the play easy, he can score. He scored at this game. He's got only had 1 double figures.
At 15 in this one. And it's going the other way. It's called on Nick Smith.
Trying to gain position.
His first. Well, Billy, you know, as much basketball as you see during the regular season. An oddity, Illinois, how many times have you been in their company this season?
This is the first time I've seen them play in person.
Which is a shock.
Yep.
Now that you've seen them, and all the talk at this point, on the eve of the selection, I've cut above everybody else. How do these two compare?
Well, I think Illinois today way out of character, turning this ball over as much as they are. I would not expect them to be able to go ahead and play at the level they have all year if you told me they're going to turn the ball over 21 times.
Luther Head with the reach around, and it's a 1-on-1 situation. Well, how about Illinois loses last Sunday? North Carolina beats Duke. We were there for that one, and Illinois retained its #1 ranking after a loss. In recent cases where that happened, Kansas in '97, Duke in '92, and Carolina in '86, with a loss still staying in #1.
Well, I think that Illinois, without question, deserved to stay in that position.
1-on-1 for Greer. 77% free throw shooter, and lets a couple of opportunities get away by missing the front end.
Well, Augustine had a little bit of a break there, and another turn and steal. This Minnesota team, as I said, set a new Minnesota record for steals on the year. So they are having something to do with the poor ball handling by Illinois, but not completely.
And they give it right back. 109 minutes to play with Illinois leading by 8. They beat this team, this Minnesota team, in the 1 encounter during the season by 23.
Foul inside Coleman, who has not been a factor in any aspect of the game.
Billy, we've got it back to Greg in the studio in New York.
Jim and Billy, SEC semifinals. Florida got a game-high 20 points from David Lee to beat Alabama 68-62. Gators have never won an SEC tournament. They'll get their chance tomorrow against the winner of the Kentucky LSU semifinal, guys.
Wow. All right. Thank you, Greg. So Florida, Billy Donovan coming up big against Alabama.
Well, and we know what Florida did the last time they played Kentucky just a week ago, beat them at home.
Just last Sunday, 1 point. Possible rematch there if the Wildcats get past LSU. Lawson, he's open on the wing for a 3. Would have been a big one. Kicks it back out, Robinson. That shot could have trimmed it to 5. Greer up high, gets the roll.
Jim, look at the difference between Greer in the second half and in the first half. He was making the drive, he'd have the shot and try to make it difficult, or he'd be hesitant. Now he's really going at it.
He's got 10.5, 17 for the afternoon.
And is so quick, running around the floor, guarding everybody's man. He doesn't even have a man yet. He can't find somebody.
McBride with a 3 to answer back, and it rattles out. And a jump ball situation, tie up. Minnesota with the break. Golden Gopher ball. They're on a 9-1 run. Cut it to 6.
Check it out. What's it all about?
A 9-1 run and 40 turnovers total in this game. Jim Nance with Billy Packer, and we're not seeing Illinois at its best, but let's give Minnesota some credit for all these turnovers they're forcing.
I would agree, Jim. And 35% shooting for Illinois. You're talking about a team that shoots right at about 50% in the year. So turning the ball over much more than normal and not shooting well. Some of that is Minnesota's great defense. And there's Vincent Greer again.
And that one brings it.
So unusual to see a guy now recognizing that he can shoot over the top of anybody that's been guarding him today.
Wow, Robinson almost made the steal on the backdoor attempt by Augustine. I'll give Greer credit for this. After his attempt for the big dunk backfired on him, look what's happened since, and another turnover.
Here is a call you don't see.
The palming call. Called for palming.
Yep. Here, let's see if Greer, who's continue to go. Look at this guy.
This time not getting the generous roll up ahead to Williams. Chance to cut it to 2 with that attempt. Darren Williams, killer 3.
Now, if Greer, who was laying on the floor, had immediately gotten up, Jim, he'd have been there to block that shot. He took his time getting off the floor.
That basket broke a 5-minute, 10-second drought for the Illini.
Now picking up their defensive intensity, but Robinson answers.
Aaron Robinson. A-Rob with the 3. It's 53-49.
Illinois really picked up their defensive intensity on that last possession and still got burned.
Robinson has now made 4 shots from behind the arc for 12 points in the game. 6 minutes to go.
And Robinson's speed has stayed right with head today. And
set up to Robinson, back to Greer. Watch this time.
That's easy. That's the way to make a play.
And it's down to 2.
Well, this record-setting stealing defense from Minnesota is really doing the job.
Head. Floater. Hagan with the rebound. And here comes Minnesota looking to tie the game.
Oh, I thought Robinson was going to unload that.
So did I.
Now, let's see if Vincent Greer will just be calm, take the man. Nope.
Oh, that would have given him the lead. Greer from the outside.
I don't know if that was the shot, Jim. They haven't gone into Hagan at all, and I think if they would, they can get something outside. It might be easier.
53-51 Illinois.
The guy that's come up big in these kind of situations is D. Brown. He's been very quiet today.
Powell back. Powell tough on that offensive glass. Squirts out to Luther Head. D. Brown bypasses the shot.
Probably should have taken it, don't you think?
Yeah, he was open enough. Good look. Led by as many as 14. Head. Again, Powell. And 1.
Well, when they played her, 21 points was a lead score. Look at this two-handed rebound right here. We have seen some powerful two-handed rebounds, the Wayne Simeons and the Sheldon Williams and the Sean Mays, but Powell's right there with him on that one.
I'll tell you, he's 6'6", Augustine is 6'10", and those two on the offensive glass, when the trio of heroes do their thing, they are pretty tough. They give him a lot of second chances.
Well, Jim, the reason for that, too, is the fact that you have to be playing so strong out on the perimeter that they have room to use their quickness to get to the ball.
So Minnesota had a 3 attempt to take the lead. Now they find themselves down 5.
Greer got to be patient. Plenty of time on this clock not to take bad shots.
Darren Robinson's got a mismatch. Augustine on him. Doubled up. Lawson. Open from the corner. Hagan. How about that
game? He was stepping out there in their shooting drills and hitting a shot from there.
That was a 2-pointer. Under 4 minutes remaining in Chicago.
That's a 2 because he's not taken a 3 all year.
And he commits the foul at the other end, sending Augustine to the line. So they're going to send him to the benches for a break. Turn into a tight one here at the Big Ten.
Terrific job by Aaron Robinson breaking the double, and watch what happens out here on the play. Augustine, who's tough, Robinson gets it through there, a kick out. Higgins waits for it
and buries the shot. Jimmy hasn't made a 3-pointer all this year, but he was about, what do you say, 8 inches away from having his first one.
At the most. At the other end, though, he sends Augustine to the line to shoot a pair. Here's Augustine. You've got the Luther Head threesome. It all made first team Big Ten. Augustine third team all Big Ten.
You know something I noticed about Augustine, too? I can remember when he was a freshman. Remember, he was a high school football player for a while. Until
quarterback for his dad.
Right, until he concentrated on basketball. He now has a total basketball body. You notice it's long, it's lean, he's got good strength. There's another former football player getting that rebound. Dee Brown patented passes.
Well, he was more of an option quarterback than Dee Brown, but
well, that was an option.
Yeah, that was an option play. Yeah, sure. Augustine back to the line. Illinois has 19 offensive rebounds in this game. These second chances making a big difference with 3:29 remaining. That's the 4th on Hagan.
Well, in the first game, they had a 37-31 rebound advantage. Again, because you have to play so strong out on the perimeter, and Augustine is so, as is Powell, they can get in there on that glass and clean up as they are today.
Coach Monson sends in Stamper, Jason Stamper, for Dan Coleman. One more Augustine. Got them both. 6-point lead.
Got to push the ball up the floor in a hurry now if you're Robinson. Got to be thinking about Vincent Greer. Get him the ball. Let him make something happen. And there's Head right with him.
Greer blocked by Head. Stamper loose on the floor.
Minnesota's got guys with quick hands. That's why they steal that ball, and they've got a good nose for the ball, too. They don't mind going in traffic.
Stamper looking for help. 2 on the shot clock. Greer must fire. And never hit the rim.
Well, Greer thought he might have been fouled, and that may have been the case, but Head was right with him.
And Coach Mont, CBS Sports Line, stat of the game. Turnovers, unfortunately, the one that stands out. You can get complete game stats, CBSSportsLine.com.
Look at that. 43 turnovers in this ball game.
And the number for Illinois, the 23.
Yeah.
Thanks to Minnesota's pressure here. Minnesota forcing a season high out of the #1 team in the land. Minnesota needs a big defensive stop this time. Tough shot right over Lawson. It's a 2.
Beautiful technique. Lawson has size and has played solid defense, but that just kind of lulled him to sleep.
Robinson over to Stamper. He's open. Had a good look. Attack Luther Head, and Illinois.
Stamper had to make that shot, Jim. You were right on it. I can tell you were watching it with the angle that we had. It looked like that was a wide open, easy jumper. And now you got to go chase.
Illinois with a 15 rebound advantage in this game.
You got to go chase right now. You cannot stay back in there. Too much clock is going by with 1:31 to go. Down 8.
Brown. Minnesota ball.
Down 8, 3 possessions, Jim. To allow an easy 20 seconds to go by is strategy I don't think you can use.
Greer said, give it to me. And
oh, Augustine almost got the elbow. Now Monson is saying go out there and foul. But I thought on the last possession, they allowed 20 seconds to go by without any defensive intensity at all. play.
Well, he got it in the face first.
Yeah, but oh boy, he is very lucky he didn't make contact with that elbow.
This is 13th rebound of the game.
You throw that elbow back there and make contact, you're in serious trouble.
Sends Luther head to the line. We're in the double bonus. And Illinois shoot 2 rest of the way.
Jim, it really becomes a decision-making process based on arithmetic. When you're down 8, you've got to go after the ball.
We've got 4 of the first teamers in this game. We'll see Mike Wilkinson of Wisconsin in the second game here when Wisconsin takes on Iowa next. Head misses them both.
Robinson good enough to the floor to get. Here comes Greer. He's going to put it up.
And 1. Yeah, about to give him that basket, so he'll shoot a couple.
Well, I think if Greer had been his offensive maneuvers in the first half as he is right now, here he takes a practice foul shot. You don't ever see that happen.
Well, this is a guy that can get hot, as we've seen down the stretch. 32 points against Wisconsin, 32 against Northwestern. Back-to-back games over 30.
Jim, I've never seen a guy do that before. He gets on the foul line, he had the ball in his hands, the refs couldn't get it, and he went and shot a practice free throw. He made that and made this one.
Roger Powell returns for Jack Ingram to the bench. 53 seconds to play.
What you're going to see now is Minnesota playing right up on the ball, probably trying to foul to get it back. But with this, it'll be an...
No, second one doesn't go. And Williams gets away from the traffic.
Well, you can hear Coach Munson screaming foul, foul. But about 6-8 seconds went by there.
Coach Munson, with all that coaching in the family, has had a great record of his own.
Yes, he did. You know, we're in Chicago. The best father and son combinations and wins came out of this town.
The Myers.
The Myers, right. And you know how many they won in total? Joey, Tom, and Ray?
Well,
1,023 games.
What if I told you I was going to guess that number?
I
mean, you asked me a question. Can I at least answer it?
Okay, well then who came in second? Who came? Okay, Big
out of Chicago.
No,
you said the question was who out of Chicago.
All right. So who came in second? If you knew that, there was the Myers at 1,000 and what?
Well, you said 1,023.
Yeah, that was the Myers. They had number 2 with the Ivers. Huh?
You want to know the number?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
fine.
I'm not going to tell you now.
978. I got it right here.
1,006.
Okay. Okay. So I'm off by 28 games.
Oh,
pretty
boy.
good guess.
It really was. But you know, you were all over the Myers.
Yes, I was.
That was pretty good, Jim. That 18th tower with you, and you start giving me some golf trivia, I'd be in real trouble.
Well, at least I'll give you a chance to answer it. All right, Greer at the line. And he'll have another attempt. That brings it to 8.
This guy's tough to guard, isn't he? You know, he's got a lot of wild moves. He can get up in the air.
Raised in Charlotte, started his career playing for Charlotte, and then played for Dixie Junior College before finding his way to Minnesota. And that'll send Augustine to the line at the other end for 2 more.
And Jim, you know, when you talk about that committee in Indianapolis and you bring up the name Charlotte, they were on such a roll about 3 weeks ago. Looked like they could actually win Conference USA and then go to Louisville, get in trouble, get bounced out of the conference tournament quickly.
Here's some bubble teams for you, Billy. I think Georgia Tech's in.
That's not a bubble team.
They're in.
That's not a bubble team. That's not a bubble team.
What about the next
I don't think that is. I think this one may be less than a bubble. And Virginia Tech, I don't think they're a bubble team anymore either. I think that they probably are going in this direction.
What is that direction?
And that is not in the NCAA tournament.
I'm sorry, I don't know how to interpret your scribble.
Well, let's call that NIT.
Okay. So they're out.
Virginia Tech played Georgia Tech yesterday. Georgia Tech looked like the new team now with Elder back in the lineup. Could be dangerous in this NCAA.
In your bracket, and they're probably going to be like a 7-8 seed or something like that. Robinson, one last chance, out to D. Brown.
Goes back to the forward pass and says, no, what we have here working in our favor is the clock, and I think Minnesota's going to let him run it out.
Well, good for Bruce Weber. Can't imagine what it was like for him today to come out here and coach. mother yesterday stricken when she arrived here at the United Center. Passed away 6 o'clock last night, in some 24, leading his team to the Big Ten final.
And Jim, this will be the 5th time that Illinois gets into the final game. Quite a record in Big Ten tournament play.
Strong performance by the Minnesota Golden Gophers. We expect to see them in the NCAAs with their 21 wins and their late season stretch of 5 wins before this one today. But it's Illinois on to the final. It's amazing. It's the 8th year of the Big Ten tournament, and Illinois has made it to at least the semifinals.
Terrific record.
Chevy MVPs Vincent Greer for Minnesota with 24 and 8. Brought him back in that second half, and Luther Head with 11 of his 14 in the first half are Chevrolet players of the game. Well, I'm sure he's greatly relieved to have this game behind him on a day just overwrought with emotion. Illinois is going on to the Big Ten championship. Clark and Seth coming up in the studio, and we continue on the road to the Final Four on CBS in a moment.